In this video, I'm just showing yet another way to read a text file. And in this case, I'm going to read the text file straight into a list of lines. So this is our main setup. So we have an activity main XML. And we have a text view at the top saying pick a dog. Then we have a spinner, which is going to display dogs. You can see that here. Then we have an image view that will show dogs. And then we have a place to show different pieces of data about the dogs. So I'm going to display some information about the dogs, and I'm going to get at this text file I'm reading. So I made under res over here, I right-clicked and made a new directory, but I've already done that. And I named it raw, and then I put this dog data file in there. And it is slash-delimited, because I had some of the like dog descriptions or colors had commas in them, so I didn't want comma separated, so I made it slash-delimited. So the name of the dog, I think the height in inches, typical height in inches, colors and description, and then a group. So dogs are grouped: working dogs, herding dogs, hound dogs, etc. Okay. So I showed you the XML, I showed you the text file, the images of the dogs are here in drawable, and I don't have a property here that is the image file, but the way they're named, Alaskan Malamute corresponds to Alaskan Malamute, but the letters are small and the spaces are replaced by underscores. So I'm going to do that transformation in code. Okay, so finally the Kotlin. And mainly the main purpose is just this different way of reading. You can read one line at a time, you can read the whole text at one time, you can read all the lines into a list, and that's the version that we're talking about here. Connect all the various things in the XML to the sort of two code versions of them, the spinner, the image view, and various text views. Here's preparing the input stream. So the file was in raw, and it was dog data, but you don't have the file extension. Resources almost never have the extension there. So capital R.raw.dog data. But reading a raw source is a particular thing built into Android. And so you just can't sort of name this folder whatever you want. Raw had a special purpose. It wasn't there in the beginning. I had to make raw, but still that has a special place in Kotlin. Okay, so I set up the input stream. I set up the BufferedReader, and then I used the readLines method. So this has created a list of the strings. So each line of the data then is now a string in this lines list. Okay. And now I wanted for my spinner, I wanted an array. I wanted to make an array adapter and just have the names of the dogs in here. And so my old-fashioned way of doing it, I'm an old-fashioned guy, I looped over the array. I split the items, split the elements of that lines, and then I grabbed the first token, which was the name of the dog, and I made a new array, dog names. And then I had this thought, and so you can tell by what I searched here in my Stack Overflow. I'm getting used to list comprehensions in Python, and I said, what does Kotlin have? And they have filter and map. And so, and I didn't need a filter. I'm not eliminating any of my dogs. So I just wanted to take this array that I have of lines and get from it basically a parallel array. And so I'm taking lines and I'm mapping it on. It is the sort of built-in element. So here I said item in lines. Well, it, when I'm using map, is sort of this default dummy name. And so it here serves the same purpose as item here. And then I am splitting it on the slash-delimiter and taking the 0th element. So it's just this very sort of abbreviated one-line construction. So something like list comprehension in Python. We're using map, and again, there's a filter, but I'm not using the filter here. But once I have dog names, then I establish an array adapter from that and make it the array adapter for my spinner. And that is the only widget, view, what have you, on my screen that the user is going to interact with. So here is the event handler. It's the on item selected listener. I need, but never do anything with the on nothing selected. And then over here, I have on the item selected, and I am getting, finding from the view, which is a text view, the text of it. And so I'm saying, I'm just using that in a toast to say you chose this dog. So you chose a bloodhound. Down here's my toast. So then it also gives me an I and an L, but the I is what's useful to me here. The I is the element of the array. And so I made this on dog names, but the dog names is a parallel array to lines, or I tend to use array and lines relatively interchangeably, sorry. Here's lines with the same I, so the ith dog corresponds to the ith line, and I'm splitting it now. So I'm doing my splitting to get all the other properties of the dogs other than the dog name, sort of on the fly when they pick a dog. So I only did, I pulled off here in this map, I pulled off just the first token, but I didn't do anything with other tokens. I'm only doing that sort of when they choose a dog, and then I'm doing that. So I split up on the slash-delimiter the ith line and get my set of tokens. The first token is the name. Now I already had the name from up here, but this is just a different way to get the name. So I'm just showing you, two ways to get this done. It's a phrase, more than one way to skin a cat. Terrible phrase, but there you have it. So I'm creating now the resource name of the dog. So the dog names over here in Drawable were lowercase, so that's happens by the lowercase. So it was the first token, the 0th token, put it into lowercase and replace the space with an underscore. So now I have the names of the dogs. I have to get the ID from the name. So I'm working with my get resources, get identifier. I'm putting in that resource name I just made. I'm looking in drawables within the package name, and I'm getting the ID. And then I am using my set image resource for my image view to that ID I just found. That's displaying for me the dog. What do I want this time? A dachshund. And then the index tokens with index 1 was the average height, 2 was the colors, 3 was the characteristics, and they all get displayed down here. And that's what I wanted to show you. So the two main things that I wanted to show in this were the read lines. So there is this built-in method for reading the lines and making it into a list of strings. And the other thing I wanted to show was this sort of map feature, sort of this equivalent of list comprehension from Python. So creating a sort of a parallel array, or if I used a filter, a sort of a sub array, but I didn't need that. I just wanted the parallel array. So I just had map, and I split the line on the slash and took the first token. Right, that's what I wanted to show you on this one. Thanks for your attention.